Hello everyone, it's me again. The market continued to be very strong last week with Nasdaq and broke out to the record highs again in S&P. So before jumping into the recap and talk about what is coming up in month of July, let's look at this unemployment rate in the U.S., which this is provided by Bureau of Labor Statistic via FRED. So you can see that the unemployment rate continued to drop with Friday announced that the payroll number about 850,000 people, which is higher than anticipated forecast. So the unemployment rate continued to be dropping to lower, which is kind of close to, if this chart you can look at around 6%. But still, Powell and Fred were looking at the unemployment rate will drop it to about 3.4% by end of the year roughly, and then 3.5% the following year. So we'll see if it were going to be the case, but right now I have nothing to deal with, at least in the U.S. Not really worried too much about Delta, which is the new COVID-19, virus or disease, if you will. That's the one that that in Asia Pacific now mostly concerned about, and Europe and Australia, like I said last week, they were announced to lock down for 2 weeks because of that. So payroll also the survey saying that that they actually U.S. saying on average they all actually paying 10 cents more now to $30.40 per hour on average. Again, you got to remember this is an average. So there's a lot of rich people in America like Elon Musk, was also part of the average, and I don't know if they calculate their bonuses into part of the salary calculation too. So the reason I'm trying to say this is, again, the low the the lower class people, Biden was talking to $15 an hour, which a lot of places already advocate that and really saying they raise it to minimum wage. While the upper people, because of pandemic, they're really rich. So it's really the middle class people suffer the most in this case, and especially for those people who have been unemployed out of a job for a long time, or even now still looking for jobs. So I just want to state out there, there may be a disconnect between the stock market looking very strong with all the numbers staying U.S. is really strong versus what actually happened in reality, because America is really big again. So you got to be careful about how you think up about what really happening in America. So U.S. stock closed mostly high on Monday with the S&P 500 and Nasdaq both setting record highs on the back of gains on mega cap technology stock. Tech companies such as Apple, Amazon, Facebook, and Zoom outperformed. Bitcoin has rebounded, trading range bound in the past day at just half of its $46,000 peak in April, but still better compared to last weekend. EV makers such as NeoStar and China XPeng and Neo Auto were big winners, while startups such as Fisker and Workhorse Group also popped. Big Bank are expected to announce dividend buyback plan given that they have passed the Federal Reserve latest round of stress tests. Wells Fargo planned an $18 billion buyback and will double its quarterly dividend to 20 cents a share. Shares edge higher. JP Morgan also and State Street said they would like quarterly dividend by 10% or more. Both banking giants were little change in overnight action. Citigroup said it will keep per share dividend level at least 51 cents. Citi shares fell 1%, but it wasn't really major. At the end of the week, still sitting $70 plus. The market continued to rise on Tuesday, even with investors increased concern about spread of COVID-19. Facebook suppressed a $1 trillion valuation after court dismissed the antitrust lawsuit. SEC slapped a JP Morgan subsidiary with $2.8 million fine as an unregistered broker-dealer, which probably meaning a violation of registration law. The Consumer Confidence Index rose to 127.3 in June from 120 in May, original 117.2, and came in quite a bit stronger than consensus 119. FANG stock were mixed. U.S. stock were mostly high on Wednesday, witnessing 10 stock wave in NASDAQ. Wednesday morning, the ADP employment report showed its U.S. added 692,000 private payroll in June. Dick soaring as much as 28% in its went public on Wednesday. predicted it's the largest property for Chinese companies since Alibaba in 2014. Moderna simple mRNA stock rose 2.4%, extended Tuesday 5% gains as well after the drug maker announced that its COVID-19 vaccine showed promise against the COVID virus high transmissible Delta variant in lab study. Well, we don't know that. There's not enough data to support that. Wow, so we really have to closely watching as well as the COVID virus cases. Closely watching what's happening with 4th of July and more travel, happening in U.S. and also across the world, and see if any spread of the virus. Right now, it seems to be Asia Pacific a little bit more impactful, and but then it seems to be very well contained too. So now I think Europe and U.S. really need to pay a little more attention on that. I think if you will ask me, I think 2 years ago, a lesson learned need to be from the U.S. government, right? And you will have taken the right measure at the time and with the right action. I don't think you will be where we're at. And I think I am okay to say this because I'm the one who actually get very serious impact with that with our job for a year, which meaning really in the human beings perspective, life have been really seriously impacted because of the government administration. I wouldn't say mistake, but an action that didn't really take good care of the basic measure that need to be done, and kind of ignore CDC at the time what was being advised, right? So hopefully we won't repeat the lesson. And I mean, really, we don't know what happened, but if the winter again have another outbreak, I don't know what to say. And I maybe, even with this cheap job, I may be out of job again. So I don't even want to talk about that because it's a little scary, but I think we always talk about to learn the lesson. So what are we going to do? How are we going to do it at the personal level? What is the government going to do? Are we really well prepared for that? Something need to be discussed at the really high level to understand and not to just take pride and say, hey, we're great, we're 70% people vaccinated, we made our milestone. And you can talk about positive, but at the same time, be realistic about it, right? I mean, where we're at, how we learn from it, and what happens if another outbreak, right? And how are we going to be controlling and well contained that? In U.S., since we're saying people with freedom to move around, right? So don't just taking people vaccinated and assume the assumption is safe, right? That's not a good assumption in my opinion. But of course, what else can you do, right? So social distancing, continue wear masks, right? Washing hands more often. Don't go to the crowd place. When you eat, you gotta be careful, and all this stuff just need to be remember all these things that were once in place and don't forget about it, right? Just like a little kid, if they forget about it, then they make a mistake again, right? Or they get sick. Doctor told them what to do, and then they remember the time. Then when they recover, they forgot about it. Then they get sick again, right? So just want to be a little bit more careful. And I think we all have holding the responsibility to really helping out in the community and continue to push that, right? XPeng stock fell 1.8%. Report the Chinese EV market price of share to use Hong Kong listing and Hong Kong $165, which is 21.23 is in US dollar. I think this is may not be 1-to-1, maybe 1-to-2, so times 2, which means 42.60. So it's still a little lower than where we're at now. Same thing is around $44 at the close on Friday. So just small discount, but be aware of that. Learn from the lesson again when you look at Baidu, Baidu, BIDU that put into the Hong Kong stock market IPO. The stock has slipped from 250 to very quickly to 170. Now you rebound back to 205. I still think the company will have very strong earnings, and depending on how things shape up, I mean, they will eventually go back to $225 level probably. I won't say 250 because it's like 20+%. Have to be higher than where the baseline is right now. So on Thursday, U.S. stock continued strong again, while Asian market dipped on worry about Delta variant. In Europe, the UK recorded more than 26,000 new COVID-19 cases on Wednesday, the biggest daily rise since late January. Inflation in the UK may be the defining economic theme of the post-COVID-19 recovery, with an important consequence of both monetary and fiscal policy. In Europe, the Stoxx 600 index touched the highest level since June 17, slightly lower than June 16 record after yesterday showing its fifth consecutive quarter of gains. Yesterday was really Thursday. On Thursday, the initial claims in regular state program decreased by 51,364 in a week, and the June 26 Labor Department data and continued claim for ongoing state benefit increased to 2.47 million the week and June 19. Walgreens, Boots, Allianz, WBA led the S&P 500. Apple was on the breakout watch on Thursday. Tesla retold its 50-day moving average and broke above a downward sloping trend line last week. Another strong day of stock market on Thursday, though XPV slipped for a day even with a strong June sales delivery announcement. So you went up with the announcement, but then you slip it back, and now it's back up a little bit again at $44 range. Some growth stocks such as BIGS, FROG were up in the morning but slipped back in the afternoon. US stock on Friday notched a 7th straight day of record high. Stock were high after Labor Department 850,000 jobs were added to the non-farm payroll last month. Travel and leisure stock were retreated this week due to fear of spread epidemic, while FANG FANG stock were moving higher. So Xpeng was up in the morning after June delivery but slipped back. DiDi went as high as $19 but slipped after Chinese government announced investigation. Lost-Star Motor Simple RIDE earned 11% lower on report that the Justice Department is investigating the company. HYLN came back down below $11, but BIGC stayed strong at $55. Small growth stock came down from last week's high, but hopefully the momentum remains. Overall, it's another strong week for the market. Dow Jones Industrial Average was up 1% to 34,786.35. Nasdaq is another record high to 14,639.33, up 1.9%, and S&P 500 ended at 433.52.34, up 1.7%. Despite the markets up, the types of sector of stock I recommend are actually down this week. So this may not be a bad idea and possibly an entry point. Again, I talked about that in the previous videos. If you know in the past, you realize the airline and cruise stock slipped with concern of COVID-19 spread, but ultimately went up a lot higher up when reopen and resume. So retail rush, so those are the stocks I still recommend buying, even though now United Airlines, if you look, it dropped to 52.50. Sometimes investors need to be a little patient and wait for 3 to 6 months. And a good example would be Robust. When the market was, they announced IPO, it was up the first day, and then you slipped because the market confidence in Nasdaq with the pressure of the yield curve. Well, they dropped to $61, but look at 3 months. If you hold it a little longer, well, we actually even less than 3 months, you went back up as high as $92. Now it's $82. So you will still make money between 62 or 63 if you bought it to 82.20 over 80. Still 25% gain in less than 3 months, which is really marvelous. If you divide by 3, that's 10% upswing in a month. Obviously, there will activity in between the months, but you shouldn't be concerned about it. So that's just why I've been pushing about picking the right good stock, holding the stock that you believe why you're buying in the first place, and watch for 3 to 6 months. A great example is XPENG Xpeng, and another example is Victoria's Secret LB. If you look at Victoria's Secret, it was dropping to as low as $5, and you rebound back to 60-some dollars today. For those who bought $5, you didn't run bankruptcy, and maybe it's the market, maybe it's the retail business, maybe it's just strategically the CEO did a really great job. All this combination made the stock went up. I didn't buy $5, even $10, but if you do that, and now I have $60, well, actually it was even 70 now. 6 times in a year. Well, how can you find a stock that will actually give you such a great return, right? Right now, it is critically important to pick the right fundamental solid stock with future growth and reshuffle your portfolio. So I give you a list of stock before, and you have to select it carefully based on that. Based on your investment strategy, because I don't need the short term, long term, medium term. Do you want to look at high tech stock? What sector you want to buy? So I cannot advise you because of different investors, but I laid out the list of opportunities and stock that you can think about. And if you believe if FANG which will continue to have growth, then at least they are profit. They have strongly proven that they're doing well, being resilient during pandemic, and they have also have a lot of cash. So these stock, I would not say whether overvalued or not. You got to evaluate it on your own. But Apple would be, they want to do Apple Car too in the future, right? And Google, we are actually depend on Google more and more every day, right? And that's the future. So these are the things you can think about if you believe the stock. That Amazon, well, it's hard to say, right? Because that's one I will leave you up to you to think about. 3,500, whether it will continue to grow to $4,000 plus, but they do have interest about also getting into the MGM business, the casino or gaming business as well. So they will look at the portfolio grow in different direction that may help them in the future. And then Netflix, this is another one. It's very challenging to say if the outbreak will happen in the fourth quarter again and we shut down, well, obviously Netflix will be the one you're betting on that will be continued growth again. But if it's reopening where people go back to watching in AMC theaters or maybe potential Disney streaming, then Netflix may not be the one in your consideration. Office and Microsoft is continues to grow with the console Xbox, and they want to upgrade it to Windows 11. So there could be an opportunity for Microsoft again for which they have actually grown a lot to $270 over $2 trillion lately in the past week. And Fortress Thomas Lee, which is another strategist that have been a lot on the news, and he had been predicted quite correctly in the past. Upgraded firm S&P 500 price target of 4,600, a 7% increase from the benchmark index closing price Tuesday. While writer of which Daddy and Poor Daddy believe that the market may crash. So you got two side people. One may say it can continue to go up. The other say, well, watch out, the market will crash. And that also, the Warren Buffett also look at the index saying that overvalue could crash the market. So you have to look at both sides and you pick and choose. I think the S&P 500 will be really robust. That's why so many people talk about that one. Nasdaq, if the yield curve maintain, you'll be in good shape. But as soon as the yield curve went up, then you know how it is. You see it in March, the stock market will be not going well. But I can't predict right whether it will be staying or going up or going down further. Actually, with the U.S. dollar have been pretty strong lately after announcing, the Powell, Fed will push a little bit in the market, the policy, but closely maintaining, watching on what happened to the market with the inflation be transitionary. And so it gives you some idea there, And June again was an exceptional month. This month have been gone and picking up from May reversal. The iShares Russell 1000 Growth ETF rose 6% for the month and 11.7% in second quarter. The Nasdaq gained 5.5% in June and 9.5% for the quarter. The market June performance is combined uptrends that give investors green light to continue cautious return to leading stock breaking out past 5 points. So hopefully July will be another strong month with earnings that will be exceed expectations. And then the stock that have been recommended like AI, I think they have a good future. BIGC will be announced earnings as well. Right now it's kind of at a reversal point, but kind of stuck at 55, haven't broke through yet. And you look at XPEV, which you have to watch at the Hong Kong IPO to determine the prices where you're going to sell it or keep it for long run. Then you have another area of stock that recommended, which have been kind of downward trend with airline, casino, and then the cruise. But maybe 4th of July, afterwards, the news talking about people going on vacation somewhere and so on, you push the market up again. And also Disney, I think Disney would be a good one to invest with the theme park reopen, and also some new movies coming out as I discussed in the past. And then there was some other fundamentally solid stock that have profit that are fun. Otherwise you will go to robots, which is kind of $82, maybe a little bit high, but you can watch that one. Dig will be good for maybe in the future long run, after after government control, and see how much it can hit down. The Chinese stock may take a little longer. The 100-year celebration already over, so you may take a little bit longer time for them to see the relationship tension between U.S. and China in the tariffs discussion, the future growth of the G7, and see how things shape up there. So hope you enjoyed the video. Have a wonderful 4th of July, and hopefully we're all safe and continue to build up our wealth. Let me know if you have any questions. Have a wonderful holiday.